Welcome to Lesson 3 of Assessment 101, Section 1, Assessment Tools. In this lesson, we will be discussing the types of assessment tools, direct and indirect evidence, deciding what assessment tools to use for your program, rubrics, and how to write rubrics. With a wide range of evidence that can be gathered for student learning, a large variety of assessment tools to help collect this evidence is available as well. Assessment tools include surveys, open-ended test questions or multiple choice test questions, rubrics, juried reviews, grades, and scoring guides. Because all of these tools are available at a program's disposal, it is important to know what kind of data your program wants to gather to accurately determine the level of student learning. Recall what we learned in Lesson 1 about direct and indirect evidence. Direct evidence measures students' performance of learning, and indirect evidence measures a proxy for student learning. Each of the assessment tools listed before can fall into one of these categories and determine if your program is gathering direct or indirect evidence. Rubrics, jury reviews, and scoring guides all fall under direct evidence. These tools provide specific feedback about a student's performance and an outcome. Grades fall under indirect evidence. It is difficult to know exactly what differentiates grade levels because lots of factors could go into determining if a student gets an A or a B. Surveys can fall under either category. Surveys that collect direct evidence are taken by experts who provide judgment on the student's performance and abilities in an area. Surveys that collect indirect evidence could be a survey taken by a student where they express their perception of their learning. There is no way for a student to accurately evaluate their learning and an outcome. Overall, surveys are categorized as indirect evidence. Test questions can also fall into either category. If the test questions are individually aligned with specific outcomes, then they can be seen as direct evidence. Using open-ended questions or essay response questions open the door for students to go into more detail about the outcomes that are being measured. This increases the reliability behind the evidence being gathered. Multiple choice questions can be described as direct evidence as well. However, these types of questions could decrease reliability. Did the student actually meet the outcome, or did they guess the right answer? Multiple choice questions are not bad tools to use. However, it is encouraged to find better methods of gathering direct evidence to measure learning outcomes. Now that we have discussed the tools, what's the best tool for your program? The short answer is lots of them. The goal of your program assessment is to accurately measure student learning. To meet this goal, direct evidence of evaluation should be the focus of your assessment. Rubrics and scoring guides provide better or rich evidence on a student's performance than grades or GPAs. But don't forget about indirect methods of evaluation. These tools can complete the story of a student's learning. It is encouraged to use both direct and indirect methods of evaluation when gathering evidence of student learning. Let's dive a bit deeper into rubrics. A rubric is a tool that allows faculty to evaluate the student's performance or work against a defined set of criteria. Rubrics outline what criteria a student must meet at every level and what a student's performance looks like at each level. Rubrics help take the guesswork out of evaluation and requirements, in addition to providing a space to know that all students are being evaluated using the same criteria. Faculty like rubrics because they make the evaluation process go much quicker, and students enjoy knowing that they have a resource that specifically outlines requirements for an assignment or project. There are two types of rubrics that can be used for evaluation: program level rubrics and assignment level rubrics. The first is program level. These are generally broader than assignment level and are used to evaluate multiple assignments. Lab activities, speeches, written assignments, and art performances can all be evaluated using one single program level rubric, whereas assignment level rubrics outline specifics for one assignment only. For example, program level rubrics might say that the student should properly use references and resources, while assignment level rubrics might say the students should use APA style citations. The first statement could be used for both a written assignment and a speech. However, the second statement can only be used for a writing assignment. To write a program level rubric, faculty must agree on the set of criteria, the wording for each criterion, and the scale that will be used for student evaluation. Level indicators must be clear and concise so that students understand what is being asked of them and evaluators can determine the difference between levels. Oftentimes, multiple iterations of one rubric could be used before they are just right for the evaluation. The steps to write a rubric begin by determining what categories the students will be evaluated on. These should be centered around your learning outcomes for the course or the specific assignment. Once the criteria are determined, faculty must define what each level of performance looks like. There are multiple ways to go about deciding this factor. Some believe determining what the level of competency is first, then working up or down. Some believe that starting from one side and working their way down, or vice versa. This all depends on what your program believes is the most logical. It may also help to research rubrics that have already been written by other programs or institutions. A helpful resource to use is the AACNU website and search for the AACNU value rubrics. Here, you can browse and search for rubrics that might match what your program is writing or looking for. While you may need to revise and restructure the rubrics to better align your program's goals and mission, this website is a wonderful resource for programs to use to jumpstart the brainstorming and writing processes for program level and assignment level rubrics. In this section of Lesson 3, we discussed types of assessment tools, how assessment tools can be categorized, the tools to use for your program, and different kinds of rubrics. If you still have questions or need further clarification, please use the contact information on your screen.